Getting the 28th Amendment to the Constitution is vital for life. That, in the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, when he talked about the fierce urgency of now, we do have the fierce urgency of now, right now, in this moment, that is going to require all of us to bring our collective consciousness and energy to make the difference. So I couldn't think of anything better than to lay out this foundation based on something that I did say for American Promise, which I thought was pretty good. It said, people of good consciousness. Now, this is what I said. People of good consciousness from all political spectrums must stand up now. What we care about as everyday people is in peril if we don't get concentrated money out of American politics. So everything that we love is in danger. And that's not an overstatement. That is not a scare tactic. That is truth. We can regain power in our representative democracy through a constitutional amendment, which will be the 28th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. See, that is real. Everything that we love, everything that we care about is in peril unless we take action, and I mean right now. And there are countless examples all over this country. And as my brother Ben laid out, the fact that money is being used to just flat out buy politicians. It is not even hidden. It is not just about the McClellan case. There are cases even before that where the Supreme Court gave authority that not only is money speech, that people who have the most money in this country have more speech than anybody else. That we are on the edge if we, the people, do not rise up together, stand up together, fight together, that the oligarchy will consume us. And that is not an over-exaggeration about the seriousness of this moment. And all that we love, the environment, all that we love, ensuring that our children and our children's children inherit an earth and inherit opportunities that we could never imagine, all that we love. Reforming the criminal justice system so that it doesn't see just black and brown folks and treat them differently in this system where black folks are not gunned down by law enforcement, all that we love. To live in a nation where women finally do make dollar for dollar as any man, all that we love. So that people who work over 40 hours a week are still not in poverty, all that we love. So that workaday people, as Jim Hightower calls them, are able to take a vacation every now and then, buy a new car every now and then, enjoy their life every now and then, all that we love. Being able to educate our children so that they don't walk across stages at our colleges and universities with debt in one hand and a degree in the other. All that we love, sisters and brothers, is in danger if we don't deal with getting big moneyed interest out of politics so that they cannot buy off politicians. And I hate to break it to you, but some of the politicians that they are able to buy are the politicians that we like. And so we got to get over whether we like somebody or not. And the beautiful thing about American Promise is that they're bringing together a bipartisan coalition of folks from all over this country, a cross-section of folks who believe different things when it comes to politics, but one thing when it comes to restoring this representative democracy to the everyday people, and that is we must act right now as if our lives depended on it, because our lives do. All that we love is in jeopardy. And if people who want to run for office will not commit to not taking corporate donations, then maybe we shouldn't vote for them. And I don't care if they got a D or an R by their name. All that we love. So Brother Ben laid out and Brother Moyer laid out and all of the speakers that you've had, they laid out the facts and the statistics as to why we should do this. I'm here to work out your heart about why nobody should leave this room tonight without being more committed to the causes that you believe in. See, some of us came to this room because we do believe that the next generation should inherit an earth, Mother Earth, in good condition. Some of us are in this room today because we do believe that we have a moral obligation to make sure that we have Medicare for all. Some of us are in this room because we see the folly in the criminal justice system, and it's not just with our line officers, it is with judges, it is with prosecutors, it is the system. Some of us are in this room because we understand that the system is rigged socially and politically and economically. Some of us are in this room because we just can't stand to sit idly by anymore and watch this nation be handed over to the few as they step over the necks of the many. And nobody begrudges anybody from having wealth. Wealth is a beautiful thing. But what we are sick and tired of is excessive greed and exploitation. And that is happening legally in this country. And the only way we're going to be able to put a stop to it is if we, the people, rise up together to say, in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, enough is enough is enough, and that we are not going to take it anymore. All that we love is in jeopardy. So I want to talk to you a little bit about why hope springs eternal, and why you are in this room right now, and why you make the difference, even though this moment is heavy. You know, I had an opportunity to interview Killer Mike for my podcast. Watch how I slide this in, Sister Tula. We the People with Nina Turner. Watch how I just slid that in there. And I was talking to him about the heaviness of this moment. You feel it. We got a person in the White House that's unfit to serve. Unfit to serve anything. We have a world that is heavy. People are just heavy. And you know what Killer Mike said to me? He said, Senator, yes, people are heavy, but not without hope. And that is the key. That in all our heaviness, we understand that if everyday people put a little extra on their ordinary, extraordinary things happen. We know this not just because I'm saying it. We know this because of the history of this country and the history of this world. If you don't believe me, just think about a woman by the name of Mother Jones, who challenged a system. She stood up for coal miners. She stood up for children who were being exploited in the mines. She didn't have a fancy title, but she understood her purpose. If you don't believe me, think about Fannie Lou Hamer, sharecropper in Mississippi, had absolutely nothing, went to a meeting, heard about organizing black folks in the South to just even register to vote. She didn't think about what she did not have. She thought about what she did have, and she used her gifts to transform the South, Mississippi, and also the Democratic Party, uniting with her white sisters and brothers to form the Mississippi Freedom Party to go up against the establishment of her day. She lost a lot, thrown in jail, beaten while she was in jail, kicked off the land that she didn't even own, but that did not stop her from pushing forward. If you don't believe me, we would not be the United States of America today with all of our ups and downs and turnarounds. It wasn't a perfect formation, but some folks stood up against the establishment of their day, and that's what we're being asked to do. All that we love is in peril as fracking is allowed to go on unabated, and folks are having earthquakes in places where there never were, where poor people live in communities where they're exploited environmentally. We're in this country right now. We have an administration that does not have the respect for the sanctity of life. All that we love is in peril because people are able to buy offices. And when that is the reality, we don't bring the variety of the mosaic of humanity to the table to be able to make decisions and help to make decisions for the whole of all of us. Our our country, our seats should not be able to go to the highest bidder, to the person that can raise the most money or has the most connections. That is not what a representative democracy is all about, but that is what is happening in the 21st century. And if we don't want this to be the story in the 22nd century, we have to do something right now, because all that we love. So again, whether you're in this room because you care about the environment, or you care about women, you care about children, you care about criminal justice reform, whatever brings you to this room, the thing that locks us together is being able to get big money out of politics. And I tell you what, they may have all the money, but we got all the people. See, money can't buy you love, sisters and brothers, but it can get you some likes. And we need some likes on the people side. We do, but more of us than them. So I want you to think, I want you to go with me to this place. So we've had 3 major revolutions in this country. 3. In the 18th century, American Revolution. In the 19th century, the Civil War. Bloody, both were bloody. The 20th century, the Civil Rights Movement, less bloody, but still intense as people lost their livelihoods fighting for causes that were bigger than themselves. We find ourselves in the 21st century at the precipice of the People's Revolution. And what does revolution mean? What are we willing to do? What are we willing to give up? What are we willing to stand up for? To be the change, as Brother Mahatma Gandhi, he said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So we can't put this assignment on some other folks. This is our assignment, to be the change that we want to see. And we can do this. We can overcome big money in politics if we lay this on the line. That anybody running for office, that they must make a commitment not to take big money donations and to raise money from the everyday people in this country. It can be done, because there was a senator from Vermont who did it in 2016. It can be done. So this is it, American Promise. Now, you know what? Jeff said that the lunch crowd, because see, wait, before I get there, I don't know, Jeff, what order to say, but I'm just sorry, dinner crowd. We just can't let the lunch crowd outdo us. They raised 12,000? I'm sorry, I just can't. Not on my watch, dinner crowd. And we got to raise us like 15,000 tonight at this dinner. That's what we going for. That's the challenge I'm putting out here, that we need some folks to give, so that they can continue to fund Wyoming and Massachusetts as they put this on the ballot for the citizens of those states to vote to make sure that the 28th Amendment becomes a reality in the United States of America. So now, dinner crowd, we can't let them outdo us now. We can't let the lunch crowd outdo us now. Okay. Now, oh, you are the lunch. My brother here said we are the lunch crowd. He said ain't no double dipping allowed. Now only in ice cream, Ben, only in ice cream. He said we are the lunch crowd. So let me close with this, because I'm feeling something. I'm feeling, the energy that Tula put here. I'm feeling the energy and the spirit. I'm feeling it. So this is what I want you to do. Can you reimagine? Because that's what American Promise is asking us to do. Reimagine a nation where the people have the power, and that money does not have an outsized influence. I want you to imagine that world, because it's the world that you are going to create for ourselves and for future generations. Our Native American sisters and brothers challenged us to look 7 generations beyond ourselves. The work we do today is not just for ourselves, but it's for generations to come. Or, I love it, when this brother said these words, he said, we must be willing to plant trees under whose shade we may never enjoy. To plant those seeds, to cultivate those seeds, to make sure the seeds get the sunlight and the water that they need to grow. And to know in your mind that you may never enjoy that shade, but you're setting up for future generations. for the love of this country, for the love of ourselves, we must do this thing. And it is, I know it seems daunting. We will have many valley moments along this journey. But sisters and brothers, you cannot enjoy the mountaintop if you don't understand what it means to be in the valley. And it may seem as though the other side is winning. It seems that way when the Koch brothers put $800 million into a race. Oh yeah, it seems that way. But what I can guarantee you is that when conscious-minded people who are determined to be the change and unite based on what they have in common, there is no force on earth that can stop us from being the difference, from being the change that we want to see. We must do this like our lives depended on it. For all that we love, whatever brings you here, all that we love. So this is what I'm going to do in closing. I usually do grandma, the 3 bones, the wishbone, the jawbone, the backbone. But I'm feeling another one of my sheroes tonight, and she's been heavy on me. And her name is Harriet Tubman. And the reason why I'm using her, because I want you to reimagine, I want you to imagine, I want you to go back in time with me. Well, we don't want to go too far back, but I just want you to go, especially if you don't want to go too far back. But I do want you to go back just a little bit. Just go back with me, with her, go back. And I want to put you in her mind. We all know that she had to fight for her freedom, right? She escaped to freedom. She went back. Think about this. She went back to get her loved ones. And she could have rested on that moment. She could have said, you know what? I saved my relatives. I'm not going back. I'm not going to put anything else on the line. But she was convicted. And she went back over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you know why she went back, sisters and brothers? To save somebody else. So my question to you tonight is, who are you going back to save? Who are you willing to put it on the line for? And you don't even have to escape or run anywhere, but think about what she did, the symbol of what she did and what it means for us today. Willingness to go back and save somebody else. That is what this movement is about. That is what the work of American Promise is about. We're about saving some other folks. But here it is. Here's her quote, one of my favorites. Imagine this with me. She said, if you hear the dogs barking, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, keep going. If they're shouting after you, keep going. Don't ever stop. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going. She's speaking to us today in this room tonight, and she's saying, and if I may say in 21st century speak, if we want to see big money out of politics, we must keep going. If we believe that in this nation we have a moral obligation to have a safety net for people who don't have for themselves, we must keep going. If we believe that Medicare for all is the way that we should go as a nation, we must keep going. If we believe that women should make dollar for dollar, as a man, we must keep going. If we believe that poor people who work every single day deserve to have paid family leave and off day every now and then, not to be in fear that they're going to lose their jobs, we must keep going. If we believe that we are obligated to leave this earth better than the way we found it, we must keep going. We must never stop. If we want to taste the freedom, we must keep going. So this is your assignment. This is our assignment. And if collectively we just go out of this room and say, I'm going to do one thing, just even one thing, just one thing to commit to the cause of what American Promise is working for, you are that difference. You are that change. The power is in our hands, no matter what it looks like. And if you don't believe me, just find any shero or hero. You don't even have to use the ones that I just gave you. But my challenge tonight is, who are you going back to save? Because a representative democracy requires it's participatory. We got to participate. We can't sit on the sidelines. We got to be in it to win it. And we are the team. And everybody has a role to play. Because sisters and brothers, our mission is so high, we can't get over it. And our mission is so low, we can't get under it. And our mission is so wide, we can't get around it. We are the ones to make this change. And we must do it like our lives depend on it. Because all that we love is in danger. So think about what you love and think about who you're going to save. And think about these words as I close this thing out from another one of my champions in history by the name of Nelson Mandela. President Nelson Mandela said these words, and I want to leave these words on your heart beyond what you're going to do, who you're going back to save. But he said these words. He said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." We can do this. And nothing is impossible when committed, conscious-minded people come together and determine that we will be the change. And we will change this thing like our lives depend on it, because they do. And we're going to do this for all that we love. God bless you.